Hey guys, it's Wonder Woman Summer. Today we're going to be discussing The Flash, the complete first season, and the cast is Grant Gustin as Barry Allen / The Flash. You have Candace Payton is Iris West. You have Danielle Panda Baker, I know I probably butchered that, as Dr. Caitlin So. You have Ricky Custenant as Detective Eddie Vaughn. You have Carlos as Cisco Ramon. You have Tommy as Dr. Harrison Wells, and you have Jesse L. Martin as Detective West. Now, Flash is one of my favorite superheroes, next to Wonder Woman. I mean, Wonder Woman's number one, but Flash would be a close second. So today I'm going to be reviewing the whole season, talking about it a little bit, and asking some questions at the end of it. So the first episode is the pod. It's where a freak accident, the particle accelerator explodes on a stormy night and gives people powers, which they call them metahumans. So at this point, the particle accelerator goes off and then a lot of people get superpowers. Now with Barry, he was in a coma for, I think it was about 6 months, and then he woke up. So that's kind of explaining how that happens. Like, he's in a coma, then he wakes up, and then he goes about like his day-to-day life, and then he realizes he has superpowers and he wants to use them for good. So the second episode is Fastest Man Alive. After a gunman storms a university and gathering in Barry's past out during the rescue, his teammates scramble to find out what's wrong. Even more, what's wrong than a new threat, a revenge-seeking one-man army who can multiply himself. So this is like their second metahuman encounter. The first metahuman encounter was, I say the Wizard's Master's brother that killed Joe's partner. And that first episode, it's really sad because he has feelings for Iris West, that is played by Candace, and he realizes that she has moved on. I mean, I'll give you a complete backstory about Barry Allen first. So Barry Allen, when he was young, his mom was murdered and his father got blamed for the murder, and he decided, and by that time Candace and him were best friends, and Candace's dad, which is played by Jesse L. Martin, which is Detective West, took him in and raised him. And over the time, Barry has had a crush on Iris, but he's never really told her that, and by the time he gets out of the coma, she's already with Ricky Custenant, which is Eddie Martin, which is really sad. So, episode 3, Things You Can't Outrun. As the team investigates Kyle Nimbus, aka the Mist, who has toxic gas powers, they revisit a painful night through the accelerator explosion that killed Caitlin Snow's fiance, Ronnie Raymond, and the Mist finally targets is too close to home, Joe West. So Caitlin Snow she's kind of like a scientist and a doctor. I really don't know what you kind of classify her as, but basically Cisco and Caitlin Snow and Harrison Wells built the particle accelerator. It exploded and Caitlin lost her fiance, which is very sad. Episode 4, Going Road. After foiling a robbery, Barry identifies the perpetrator as Leonard Snart and is visited by Felicity Smoke. When Snart obtains a stolen cold gun that could kill the Flash, Barry faces Captain Cold in an epic fight. So around this time, Cisco has been making gadgets. He's basically the engineer. He makes all the gadgets, all the cool things, and during the midst of like the whole particle accelerator, he created this gun He didn't know that it was going to kill Barry at that time, but you know, cold is kind of one of Barry's sort of weaknesses. And Leonard Snart steals the gun, and then they go into like this epic battle. Episode 5, a downtown bomb blast followed by an army takeover is investigated by General Wiley. Makes Team Smash suspicious. Enter, I can't pronounce his name, a newly formed soldier who can detonate things by simply touching it. So this is kind of like that episode where you meet like the bad general, General Riley. He does tests on metahumans. He does anything to advance soldiers. So he's been running tests on metahumans after the particle accelerator explodes. And at this particular time, there's this woman that's in the army, and she used to do bomb defusal, and basically when the particle accelerator ruptured, she has the ability to touch anything and it can go boom within a matter of seconds. And General Wiley and Professor Professor Harrison Wells used to go way back and help him. They used to do projects for the army. Okay. The Flash is born, episode 6. Barry's school nemesis, Tony Woodward, can transform into gritted steel, setting out on a crime rampage, and Iris West blogs gets her dangerously involved. Eddie Thong starts asking questions Shows doesn't want to answer. So around this particular time, he has like this bully that always used to pick on Barry, and now he's up against him and he's trying to defeat him, but he couldn't find a way to defeat him. And at this time, when the Flash started happening, the streak, Barry told, his father, which, is Detective West, about like he was the first person he told, and Caitlin and Dr. Wells and Cisco, I don't know if I said that, started helping him explore his powers, doing good, doing great things. And at this time, Iris was very fascinated about the Flash, so she started blogging about it. She had no idea that Barry was the Flash because they didn't tell her. And with her blogging about the Flash got her in trouble, and Tony sought her out to say like, hey, you need to start writing about me. You don't need to be writing about him anymore. Like, there's a new person in town. Power outrage. He needs to feed the highly charged metahuman Blackout. Suspends all of the Flash's electricity by draining him of his speed. Inside Central PD, the Clock King takes several people hostage, including Joe and Iris. So this is kind of like a metahuman that just feeds off of electricity. And Barry was trying to stop him, but he zapped him and fed off of all of his speed force and drained him. And Barry lost his powers for a few days. He actually kind of got whammied. He didn't actually lose it. He just felt like he couldn't do it anymore. I think that's what whammy means. But they did stop him just in time. Flash versus the Arrow. Oh my god, this is the Arrow. This is a Flash and Arrow crossover, which is one of my favorites. The Arrow, Stefan Amell and Felicity and John Diggle are in town on a case involving lethal boomerang. Team Flash tackles Bandit, who can introduce people into a rage, including Barry and Flash, and resulting into a Flash and Arrow showdown. So this is kind of like, if this metahuman, if you see him, if you look into his eyes, he'll go into like a fit of rage. And at this point in time, Arrow came over to ask Barry for help, and then Barry wanted Arrow's help, and they were trying to like help each other out. And at this time, Barry has a lot of suppressed feelings, you know, especially about Iris and especially about the team and how everyone's doing everything. So eventually he does blow up. He does go and attack Eddie because he's so angry. Like, he gets to have everything. He gets to have a great job. He has to, like, I don't want to say have a normal life, but he gets the girl, and it really infuriates him, and he literally attacks Eddie. And Arrow stops him, and then they go into this showdown, and then they fight. And that prompts Eddie to create a task force to stop the Flash. Episode 9, The Man in the Yellow Suit. Barry finally gets a crack at his mother's killer. The Man in the Yellow Suit, aka Reverse Flash, sets a trap. Mercury Labs technology is obtained by Dr. Christine McGee. Caitlin finds Ronnie's transformation. So this is the episode where the Man in Yellow is trying to steal this like device, but he can't find it, so they decided, like, why don't we use Dr. McGee's tech and set a trap for him, and it didn't go so well. He still stole it anyways. So episode 10, Revenge of the Rogues. Fire and Ice. When Captain Cold returns to the hot-headed partner, Mickey Ward, aka Heatwave, they double down on the Flash. Iris details of the aftermath of Barry's confession, and Cisco Ramon makes the CDPD a new shield. So this is kind of like where Captain Cold and Team Frost like come together and try to like put down the Flash, but it definitely doesn't work. And at this point in time, Barry confesses that he's in love with Iris and that he has feelings for her at this point in time. Episode 11, The Sound and the Fury. The Prodigy one returns. Dr. Harrison Wells, former Prodigy Hartley, is now able to manipulate sound waves. Seeking revenge, Iris becomes a club reporter and paired with a veteran, Roger Hawthorne. So this is the episode. He's one of the scientists that helped Dr. Wells build the particle accelerator, and at this time Hartley told him that there's a potential chance that this could blow, you should shut it down, and Harrison wasn't having any of it, so he fired him. And Hartley decided to come back and cause some trauma, stir up some drama, and like try to take down the Flash, try to take down all of them, but he failed. Episode 12, Crazy for You. Cisco takes Hartley up on his dangerous offer as the team hunts Shauna Blaze, whose teleporting powers allow her to free her boyfriend, Clay Parker. And Barry's dad, Henry Allen, makes an inquiry and gets attacked by fellow inmates. So this is the part where they capture Hartley, and Hartley was like, you're gonna want to let me out because I know what happened to Ronnie. And Cisco was like, I don't know if I should do it, and he kept that secret by himself. He was kind of struggling, like, should I let him go? Is he gonna tell me what I need to know about Hartley? And there's this metahuman that can, she's kind of like Nightcrawler in a way. She can teleport wherever she wants as long as she can see where she's going. And Joe and Barry are kind of stuck on the case, so Barry's dad was like, hey, I'll help, I'll ask questions around, and then Barry was like, no, don't do this. He asked too many questions and he got pummeled. Episode 3, The Nuclear Man. Ronnie, aka Firestorm, attacks the physician Billy Down. The best way to track him is to find Professor Martin Stein, who worked on the project of Firestorm. Joe has asked Cisco to help reinvestigate the murder of Maura Allen. At this point, Joe has always had suspicions about Dr. Harrison Wells. He just felt like it's off, and I feel like with Joe being a detective for years and years and years, he can kind of sense certain things. He sensed that there was something off and about Wells, and he asked Cisco Ramon to help him out about his about Barry's mother's murder. Fallout. After the nuclear blast separates Ronnie and Stein, the two must decide they are not safe together or apart. With Gwen zeroes in, General Eiling zeroes in on Firestorm. Stein also gives Barry important information about time travel. So at this point, they kind of they realize that Ronnie is infused with Dr. Stein. So Ronnie is in his body, but Dr. Stein is controlling him. So they decided to make a kind of device to separate them into two beings, and it actually works. Out of Time, episode 15. Marvin seeks revenge on the death of his brother, the same weather wizard powers as his sibling. Cisco investigates a reverse fudge that leads to tragedy at this time, and at this time is the essence of Barry. So Mark is kind of mad that Joe killed his brother, and he goes in to tries to kill wow, brain fart. He tries to kill Detective Joe Buss, and at this point, him and Cisco have been doing research. They went back to the house where Barry was living at, and they used all his scientific equipment to figure out, you know, there were two speedsters, one with the man in yellow and the one that's in red. And at this particular time, they have some DNA. They have DNA because there's like blood underneath the wallpaper of the house, what used to be. So they take the DNA and they realize that it's Barry, but it's a younger version it's like an older version of Barry. So it kind of alludes that he time traveled. Episode 16, Wrong Time. Captain Cold and Heatwave are back, and Star's sister Lisa amplifies the havoc, ensnaring Cisco and the Flash's identity in a bargain. Barry raptures the time continuum and calls ripples in reality. At this particular time, episode 5, it's kind of where he tries, the Weathermaster, which is Mark, actually tries to kill Detective Joe West. So he decides to kidnap Joe, and then he calls, the Weathermaster calls Iris and says, like, if you ever want to see your father again, you need to come here. And Detective West was like, she doesn't need to be in this. He was like, no, I'm going to kill her, and then I'm going to kill you. And at this time, the Weathermaster creates a tsunami, and Barry has to run. He's run as fast as he ever has been running, and he goes back in time. It's only for a day, but at this time, he decides that he did time travel, so he decided to lock up Weathermaster before he can create the tsunami, and by doing that, it creates ripples. At the time, before the tsunami was going to happen, he told Iris who he was, and he kissed her. And by taking out the tsunami, he never tells Iris how she feels, and Iris doesn't reciprocate those feelings. And at this time, Dr. Harrison Wells kills Cisco because Cisco figured out who he really was. So if he didn't go back in time, him and Iris would probably be together, but Cisco would be dead. And at Rogue Time, that lets him know, like, if you do one thing, something else is going to happen. And that something else was Cisco and his brother was captured, and Captain Cold started to freeze Cisco Ramon's brother until he told him who the Flash actually was, and he told him who the Flash actually was, the Trickster. A copycat calling himself the Trickster goes on a bomb spree, and Barry and Joe meet the jail original Trickster, Jesse James. Things go from bad to worse with both villains unite and take Henry's as prisoner. So at this time, there's like a new Trickster in town, and he's kind of like a younger version of the Trickster, and he's been doing little tricks to divert. The real plan is getting the original trickster out of jail, and they take a hostage, which is Barry's father. And the original trickster realized that, hey, you're actually my son, and they go on this like little plot to steal money. Episode 18, start of a team. Felicity and Ray Palmer seek help getting Ray's Atom suit to work. Meanwhile, a young tech expert, Emily, wreaks havoc with her insect drones as Barry and Ray help her to deal with it. So I think this is the episode where it's the bees. And they try to stop it. Who is Harrison Wells? While Joe and Cisco head to Sterling City for answers about Dr. Wells from Quentin Lance, Barry races to catch up with a metahuman who can transform into anyone he touches, including the Flash. So at this point in time, Eobard Thawne, not Eobard Thawne, but Eddie Thawne finds out that he is the Flash because Barry told him. And Barry, Detective West, Caitlin Snow, and Cisco are in on, we think that Dr. Harrison Wells is the person that killed Barry's Barry's mom. So at this point in time, Detective West goes with Cisco to Sterling City to find out where it all happened, because one of the professors that used to work with Professor Wells said that he started changing 15 years after his wife's death. So they went back to the site to see if they found something. They did find a body, and it was actually the real Harrison Wells. The trap. The time vault reveals spurs of the Team Flash to devise a trap to trap Wells, but their efforts put Cisco in grave danger. Eddie makes a decision regarding Iris and unsettles Joe. Both interact, face a dear reckoning. So at this point in time, they decide to set a trap. So when Barry ruptured the time continuum, Cisco has the memory of Dr. Harrison Wells murdering him. So he decides, and at that scenario, he admits that he admits that he has murdered Barry's mom. So they decided to recreate the scenario, get a confession, and get Dr. Wells, locked up. But it didn't work. And Eddie's situation, he is thinking about proposing to Iris, and he asked Joe for his blessing, and he said absolutely not. Episode 5, Broad lives. Not episode 5, but episode 21, Broad lives. Fear me. In addition to holding Eddie captive, Dr. Wells unleashes a meta-charged and telepathic Grodd on the city. Barry, Joe, and Cisco head down to the sewers to catch him, but a giant gorilla gets the upper hand and kidnaps Joe. So at this point in time, Eddie is about to propose to Iris. The Reverse Flash grabs him and holds him held captive, and when they're trying to find Eddie, Grodd shows up and starts wreaking havoc. Then they try to find Grodd, and then Grodd takes Detective West. And at this point in time, Iris knows that Barry is the Flash, because when Barry was in the coma, Iris touched him and electricity jolted through her. It wasn't like a hurting jolt, but it was just like a jolt. And when she touched the Flash, she felt that jolt. She realized, you're the Flash. She was very mad that he didn't tell her. Rogue Air. Dangerous deja vu. Wells recreates the particle accelerator, and the team has no choice but to move captive metahumans. As time runs out, Barry must partner with the ally Captain Cold and rescues Eddie as a surprise for Iris. So at this point in time, Dr. Wells is put the particle accelerator on time, and they have 36 hours to try to stop it. They can't stop it, so they decided to transport the metahumans to Lian which is Oliver's secret prison. But they need to get them like on a truck and then on a plane. But nobody would clear a route, so he decided to go to Captain Cold and ask them, we need to transfer some prisoners and put them on the prison and get them to prison. And Captain Cole was like, why should I do that? He was like, at first, I don't know what he asked Barry to do, but Barry didn't want to do it. And then he said there must be another way. He said all of my dental records, physical evidence, everything the police have on me needs to be completely and utterly destroyed, and then I'll help you. He did it, and Captain Cole tampered with the device transporting the metahumans and let most of them out at that point. Episode 23, Fast Enough. What will fix the past but to do the future? Wells presents a life-changing choice to Barry, but for this, the Flash and his comrades, if he do it, it must be catastrophic as a triumph. The need for speed has never been greater. So at this point in time, they capture Harrison Wells, aka the Reverse Flash, and the Reverse Flash says like the particle accelerator is going to go online. If you go fast enough, you can go back in time and you can save your mom, but all I want to do is go back home. So Barry has like this ultimate choice that he has to figure out if he wants to do or not. So he takes some time to think about it, then he goes back into time. He doesn't save his mom, but he does spend like the last moment when she dies, and I feel like that's really sad because when he went back, his other self that was trying to save his younger self said like, no, don't do it, and then he closed the door, and then he had to witness his mother's murder a second time, which is very sad. And at this point in time, he comes back to the future, destroys Harrison Wells' way to go back, and they fight. And then Harrison Wells was about to kill Barry, and then Eddie shot himself. So Eobard Thawne, which is actually the Reverse Flash's real name, and Eddie Thawne are actually distant related. So if Eddie dies, the Reverse Flash dies, and he makes the ultimate sacrifice. And I guess there's like kind of like a black hole after that happens, because the particle accelerator became unstable, and then it made some more chaotic stuff happen, like this big huge wormhole happened, and they tried to figure out how to stop it. So that's pretty much season 1, kind of like in a very nutshell. Oh, I forgot to tell you about the time vault. So they figured out the time vault, and they realized what Gideon is basically an AI intelligence. The one thing that I couldn't find out is like if he made Gideon, because Gideon is in DC Legends tomorrow. So when did he make it? And Gideon is used throughout the whole thing of DC Legends. So when did Barry create Gideon? And they kind of find out that Iris West is gonna marry Barry, so there's some hope for that. Another thing that I wanted to figure out, when Dr. Harrison Wells killed the original Dr. Harrison Wells, I should say Eobard Thawne killed Dr. Wells, he said like, you and your wife Sue are gonna make the particle accelerator in year 2020. I need that faster to happen. So if the particle accelerator happens in 2020, that's what creates metahumans, that creates the Flash. But they did it earlier, so Flash got his powers early. That's kind of like the question that I have. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It means a lot to me. Bye.